Well, hello, everyone. This is Tracee Randall, founder of Generational Health and co-founder of Atlanta Business Spotlight. And today, in this segment of Tracy's Arsenal, I am so excited for you to meet Hillary Simpson, founder of the nonprofit Crazymothers LLC. Welcome to the show, Hillary.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know you are. You're always excited because, like me, you got a fire burning in your belly about Crazymothers, and our listeners are excited about meeting you for the first time, and of course, meeting you in person in a few days. And by the way, Hillary, I can't begin to tell you how honored we are that you to have you as our guest tonight. This subject is extremely important to me. I'm very passionate about it, very emotional about it, in fact, and sometimes quite mad about it. So, yeah, and we met on social media. Uh-oh, I lost her. Oh, she'll come back. Oh, no. So I'm assuming I'm still live. So I'm going to wait because she hit a button, and that happens sometimes in social media technical world. She will be back, and we'll get her back. Here she comes. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry.
It's okay. Look at you. You're a hoot.
All right. Hold on. I'm back now.
Now we know how you got the name Crazy Mother. Okay.
Exactly. You know what? I have to say, technology is not my thing at all. It's like the first thing I tell people. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. All right.
Don't worry about it. It's not my thing either. And, we can't be good at everything, Hillary, even though we try.
It's true.
What I want you to do first, I want to share with the listeners that I did meet you on social media. I'm going to share a little bit later in the interview exactly how I met you and what attracted me to you. But tell our listeners, first of all, a little bit about yourself. I know you're a mom of 3 amazing children, but share a little more about who you are.
Okay, well, yep, I have 3 children, and we live in New Hampshire with my husband as well, and our cat. I actually went to school for theater in New York City, and then after that, I bartended because that's what you do.
I was a bartender too. We have so much in common.
And then after that, I moved around, eventually met my husband and settled in New Hampshire. And I started Crazymothers after, as you know, my son's vaccine injury and recovery.
How old are your children now?
So my daughter is almost 8, and my middle son is 4.5, and my baby just turned 2.
Aw, well, it was your son, your middle child that was vaccine injured, correct? And
Yeah.
he's 4 now.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
He's 4.5.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But as I mentioned, you are the founder of Crazymothers. Tell us the mission of your nonprofit and why you're so passionate about it.
Well, I'm so passionate about it because it happened to me. You know, my son was vaccine injured, and that led me into years of research and trying to figure out how to recover him, how to heal him, how to get him better. The doctors, the regular pediatrician was no help, so I had to look in other avenues, find naturopathic doctors. So it's all very personal to me. And I realized that, people thought I was crazy. I had to search out other mothers and other parents. That's why I started Crazymothers, so that we didn't feel like we were crazy. I wanted to get this vaccine injury and recovery awareness. I want to help spread that. I want to get vaccine safety information out to young parents who don't know that there's a whole other side of this that you're not hearing. And I really want to empower women to not feel crazy, like I said. Even though we use that term so much now, my whole point is actually I want people to say Crazymothers so much that it no longer sounds crazy. I want to get rid of that stigma and for us just to be another mother's advocacy group fighting for our children.
I love it. And we so need this. Knowledge is power. And you said a mouthful there. There's so many moms and even potential moms out there that don't realize what your share about vaccine safety and about do we, so many questions that we have today. We are becoming more and more aware of it, but I am just, as I began to really research more about what you do now, I'm a mother, a crazy mother also. But my boys are grown, Hillary. They're adults. My oldest son has 4 children, one on the way, but I'm not hands-on, with young children. And there's so many questions today about the increase in the number of vaccinations. Do you have to vaccinate? I know they make you feel like you do, but do you really have to? Those are great, things that every mother must know. And we've got to put the safety and health of our children in our hands, not in the hands of the business world.
Exactly. And, especially first-time moms, research everything, every little thing they're going to do to their baby. Except it seems like vaccines. For some reason, something that's being injected into your child, they're totally okay with not looking at what's in it. You should know the ingredients. You should know the risks and benefits, the real risks and benefits. And you should be looking to people who have spent a lot of time looking into this subject, because unfortunately, your average pediatrician doesn't know a lot of this stuff, which is crazy. So.
Absolutely. You're so right. And, we do owe it to the next generation to do better. We're going to be talking at our health summit coming up here this coming weekend in Atlanta about ways to create a health legacy for that next generation. And I know that there are, in really doing just a little bit of research since I met you, and I knowing that I wanted to talk about vaccinations and all of these subjects that we're talking about here at the Health Summit, I am blown away at what's happened in the business of medicine, where so many parents are coming, believe their child has been vaccine injured, and yet they're being paid off to be quiet. Or, you want to kind of speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, it's really hard to go back to your pediatrician and have the pediatrician admit that, it's
Right.
because of the vaccine, because they were the ones that administered the vaccine. So that's already like a hard hill to climb up.
Sure.
And there's...
I think you can trust your pediatrician, as a new mom, who can you trust if not that doctor?
I know, you can trust yourself. That's what you have to do, is you trust yourself. If your baby is all of a sudden not acting right, if he's screaming inconsolable, if he has a high fever, all of that stuff, there has so many times where I've heard mothers say, I called the doctors and they said, well, it's fine. It's normal. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. So just because reactions like this are common does not mean that they're normal, and they need to be reported. That's another thing. Or these reactions are so underreported, and even the CDC itself says that.
Right. And I want to correct what I said, because it sounded a little harsh that mothers are being paid off. I didn't mean it to come out that's a negative thing for the mothers, because obviously they would never exchange money for the health of their child. But is there some sort of, like undercurrent thing where if can you help me?
Yeah. Well, if you or your child has been injured by a vaccine, you have to go through this special federal claims court. And if they, it takes years, like a regular court, to kind of figure out if they're going to award you money or not from the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. And it is very hush hush. There are a lot of people who don't even know that's what you have to do, because in 1986, the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act was passed, and that stripped all of the pharmaceutical companies of any type of liability for vaccine injury, because they were getting just absolutely exploded with lawsuit injury payouts. So they went to the government and said, we're going to stop producing vaccines, because we can't pay out all this money all the time for the injuries. And so the government stepped in and was like, well, here, we'll do this.
Well, yeah, this is where we have to draw the line in the sand and get our heads out of the sand and know that we have to protect our children. So what are the rights, or what rights do moms have when it comes to vaccinations? Can we refuse vaccinations 100% of the time? Are there some vaccinations that we are forced to do? Can you answer that quickly, or is that something we need to maybe do in another?
I mean, yeah. So the easy thing is that nowhere in America is it illegal to not vaccinate. You are free to not vaccinate anywhere in the US. When it comes to public schooling, that's when things start to get tricky. If you work in the medical profession, it's very hard to get out of. But if we're going to focus on schooling, which most mothers care about,
Right.
Every state has their own laws about it. So you really have to get into your own state laws. But there are 3 types of exemptions for every state. Well, for the country: medical, religious, and philosophical. Now, not every state has all 3. For instance, California, West Virginia, and Mississippi, they only have medical exemption, which means the child had to be, either have an anaphylactic shock reaction or an immediate seizure.
Already had a vaccination, right?
Right. It's really hard. I mean, it's doable. It's really hard to get a medical exemption for most people who don't have the resources and the time. So unfortunately, those 3 states have it really rough right now. New Jersey is potentially becoming a 4th. But anyway, so all of the other states, including Georgia, they have a religious exemption and or a philosophical exemption. Philosophical is the best because that, you can just say no because you want to say no. And that's how it should be all over the United States. But religious is good usually as well. Georgia has religious exemption. I was looking you guys up actually so that I could help some mamas out. And sometimes in the States, it's really easy with religious exemption. You just have to go to the school office and get a form, fill it out, notarize it, and that's it. Super easy peasy, like it is in New Hampshire. And in other states, in Georgia, you have to draft up the letter yourself and have it notarized, so it's a little bit trickier.
And about 6 or 8 months ago, I actually did a Tracee's Arsenal live on Facebook by myself after doing some research and really getting some really good information. And that part of this was so confusing to me because I didn't have the resource. And I had actually come to the conclusion that it was almost impossible to put your child in public school if they weren't vaccinated. But I think that's what they make you feel like.
They do.
And I love the fact that Crazymothers, you're working on a website that's going to consolidate all of this information and really steer mothers and help them save time. Because a mom, oh my goodness, they've got to know where to trust. They don't have the time. They're so busy learning how to be a mom.
Yeah.
This is just, what you're doing is so incredibly valuable, and we just thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited about the website too. I want it to be like a one-stop shop for new mamas, like you said, who can kind of look at the other side of things and hear from mothers who have vaccine injured children as well, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. And, we're going to talk more about this, and I want to ask you, would you be willing to come back and after the summit and do some more lives with me to educate on some other questions that I have, and let's go down some other paths. But, one of the things that I don't want our listeners to miss in this interview is that you actually took your son, who had been vaccine injured, from probably going down a horrible, horrible health path for his future to full recovery. And I don't expect you to share everything now because we don't have time, but just kind of touch on what you did, just as simply as you can, and we'll do another full video live about that later.
Yeah, well, it started out with, he had a horrible reaction, and then he had chronic diarrhea, led to chronic ear infections. Then he started to regress around 1 year. I was losing him. If I had kept vaccinating, if I had kept him on the diet that he was, if I had kept, not listening to my gut, 100%, I would have a full-blown autistic child.
Right.
However, I knew something happened, and then I started researching. I read all the books that I could get my hands on. I decided that I was going to do it myself, and I started getting a team together, the naturopathic doctor who was probably the biggest lifesaver, and a pediatric chiropractor is amazing. I think every child should be having regular pediatric chiro. Diet for sure. Diet is the number one thing. I found out he had all of these allergies, gluten, dairy, soy, citrus, legumes. Once we eliminated that, eliminated the inflammation in his gut, healed his gut, started the probiotics, all those medical, biomedical treatments, cod liver oil, vitamin C, you name it. We did it. And, now he, like I said, I think I told you this already. His preschool teachers have no idea what we went through.
That wells up such emotion inside of me, because I know there's so many moms out there that, could only pray that they knew what you knew and did what you did. And, so many times, and I always share this when it comes to our children's health, I definitely want to say that this is a no guilt zone as well, because we could look back at the mistakes that we made due to our lack of knowledge and feel so guilty, Hillary, about what happens to our child. And I really want to say this to the moms out there that might be listening, no matter what, there is no guilt here. And it's just, once you have the knowledge, it's moving forward with that knowledge. That's empowering. And I happen to believe, and I'll see what you think about this, as a wellness professional myself, I believe that any child, no matter how old they are, that has been vaccine injured, we can turn them around. Maybe not 100% fully if it's been a very long time and there's lots of toxicity, but we can make some incredible, significant leaps and bounds to help a child nutritionally and help them be healthier.
Absolutely. I mean, even in the autism world, even if the brain injury is so severe that you can't necessarily recover them neurotypically, what you can do is at least address the physical ailments, the underlying gut issues, and make them feel better, and help their anxiety, everything. There's so much you can do to help them feel better and have a better life.
Absolutely. And we're going to share a lot of those protocols and information at the Health Summit here in Atlanta. Again, you're a featured speaker. We're so thankful that you made the decision to leave your children, I guess, in the good hands of your husband, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And
they'll be in good hands.
And come and speak for us and encourage mothers and grandmothers and dads about empowering them with this information. The first time that I saw you was on social media. I know it was a God thing. I don't know how I even saw this video or why I even stopped to watch it, but there you were sharing this incredibly beautiful poem that you wrote. And as I listened to you, your story through that poem, that poetic work, it was so, oh my God, it tugged at my heart. And I knew right at that moment that I wanted to connect with this woman. You're so passionate. Tell us a bit about how you came to write it and the response you've gotten across the nation from writing that poem.
Oh my gosh. I like I said, I've spent years now kind of going down the rabbit hole of vaccine injury and recovery and awareness and all of that. And it just kind of came out. It just bubbled out. And I wrote it in 2 days. And when I first wrote it, I was like, I want to do this really big. I want to go take it to a stage and, film it and all this stuff.
Your theater background.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, can you blame me?
No, of course not.
And then it for some reason, it was not working at all. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do it right here in my kitchen. Rian was in the other room, my boy that I recovered, and I did it. And I was like, it's perfect because it's imperfect. And that's what motherhood is about, embracing the imperfections. And when I released it, it's had over 1 million views so far. And I'm just so thankful that I've been able to launch into Crazymothers as a nonprofit and go from there, because I really obviously am passionate about informing other mothers.
Well, we're going to help support your nonprofit along the way. I feel like we're just going to link arms in so many ways. This is too important not to. I'm grateful to say that my 4 and almost 5 grandchildren have never been vaccinated either. And because of it, I have the healthiest grandchildren that I've ever met. And I'm grateful for that. And I thank God for my daughter-in-law who makes those decisions. We talked, I said when I posted earlier that we were going to talk about the vaccinations that seem to be required by law, but aren't
Right.
for babies. But real quickly, because I promised the moms of teenagers that I would touch on this. What's your take on the HPV vaccine for teenagers?
Oh, girl. All right. So the flu shot and the HPV shot are the ones that are awarded the most amount of money for vaccine injury compensation. So they are the 2 most dangerous shots out there. And they are also the 2 most unnecessary shots out there. So the HPV, 8 out of 10 people are going to contract HPV in their life. It's like the common cold for genitals, okay? And you're not going to vaccinate for a common cold. It doesn't make sense. So not only that, but really quick, if we get to the big stuff, it has never been shown. It has never shown to have prevented a single case of cervical cancer, and that's how it's touted.
Right.
One less Gardasil 9, be one less diagnosed with cervical. It has never been shown to do that. Right. So it's insane that they can even. And there are lawsuits actually about it, but anyway, so that. As well as the fact that there are over 130 different HPV strains, Gardasil 9 only protects against 9 of those strains. Now, this is the biggest one. If you already have an HPV infection and you get the Gardasil, it increases your risk over 100 times of getting cervical cancer.
So this is what these mothers need to know. And you see these commercials on TV that tug at your heart. They make you feel like a monster if you don't do this. Yeah. And this is wrong. And mothers and dads need to know about this and not be fearful. And knowledge is power. There's only fear when we don't know. And we can be led down that path when we don't know. But we are smart. We are crazy mothers. We are smart, crazy mothers. Yeah. You can't fool us anymore. And the time has come to make a decision. Get mad. Make a decision that you are going to control the health of your family and the families that you have connections with. So, oh my gosh, I can't wait until this coming Friday to see you here. I want to encourage people that live in the Atlanta area or anywhere near. Hillary's coming from New Hampshire, so you can come. There's still a few seats left. We will sell out. Hillary, typically in Atlanta, this is always the case. People wait until 2 days before an event to even buy their tickets. And so thankfully there's room for you to still buy tickets. And if you get on it right now, and we will be sharing the link to that here in the comments. And she may have already done it. I think this may be it right here. So I'm going to share it. Hopefully it is. I can't really see. Hopefully that's what I'm sharing. And real quick, Hillary, tell people how to connect with you as well, how to connect with Crazy Mothers.
Well, right now we just have the Facebook Crazymothers at crazymothers.org. If you type that in, it should bring you to our page. Like I said, we're working on our website, and that should be launched in a couple months.
I'm excited. Well, we'll make sure and put the Facebook page link in the comments so that people can connect with you, get the information that you have. And I want to just say again, thank you for, you've already done what needed to be done for your son. You could just roll up in a ball and have a big time and take care of your own kids and not worry about anyone else's. So what an incredible woman you are, Hillary, to care enough about other children out there and other families out there and not just, hold inside, hold tight what you've been able to accomplish, because I know that this comes with a price, and a very big price. And we just thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Tracee. I'm so excited to see you. I can't wait to hug you, actually.
I know. I can't wait to hug you either. Well, okay. So this has been Tracee's Arsenal. Tonight in the spotlight, Hillary Simpson, founder of Crazymothers LLC, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering and educating mothers. You will be seeing more of Hillary all over the place because we're going to make sure everyone gets the opportunity to meet her. And thank you again, Hillary. Have a safe trip. I'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Tracee.
All right. Good night, everybody.